Hello, everyone. Welcome to Subconscious Healing with Emma Wachs. Say hi in the comment section. Let us know that you're here. Let us know where you're from. This is my favorite hour of every week, as some of you will know by now. So awesome to have you guys here every week. Make sure I've got the feed happening. So awesome, I get to hear you, everybody's saying. Amazing, awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Woohoo. Just waiting for the feed to come up. Today we're going to do something super exciting. We're going to connect in and tune in and see what's going to be best for all of you guys. We're going to be clearing some limitations, which is very, very exciting as always. What I am really excited about today is the topic, which is going to be us talking about how we can help you find time and space for yourself. So we're going to connect in a little bit with the essence here of find time and space. And I love this because, you know, we've all just had this period of being able to have time for ourselves, more time for ourselves. And what I'm noticing is that as we're starting to break through, you know, back into reality, we're starting to, you know, do the things that we used to do. Some of us are going back to work. You know, we're all starting to need to adjust and have a look at the sorts of things that are going on in our life and see whether they're still supportive for us. And so what I want to do today is I want to do some myth busting. I want to break down some ego mind identity. I want to clear some of our perception so that we can start to look at, you know, some more supportive ways of allowing us to find the time and space that we need for ourselves. So this is going to be truly, truly wonderful. I'm very, very excited. Just not catching the feed, so I'm a little worried that you guys can't see me, but let me just double check that you're all here. All right. Awesome, I can see it now. I've got it up on my laptop. That's perfect. Thank you for watching, everybody. Let's see your comments. Oh, hello, Sophie. Melissa made it. Yay, so good to have you. Melanie, hello. Wonderful. Thank you for joining. Mick, I see you there as well. That's perfect. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. So we're going to explore how to find time and space for yourself. We're going to do some myth busting. We're going to be clearing and breaking down some ego mind identity. This is the favorite part, my absolute favorite part of what I do. We're also going to be doing some demonstrations of subconscious healing and having a look at clearing some limiting beliefs. So any difficulties that you've been having in this particular area of your life where you've been struggling to find the time and space that you need for you, this is going to be perfect for you, and we're going to be able to start exploring and clearing some of the limitations for you that are getting in the way. And I'll just say from the beginning that this is not always what we think it is. You know, our minds are so great at playing and creating these stories that it's so easy for us to sort of get off track. So I'm really excited to bring this all to you. So today what we want to have a look at specifically is we want to explore subconscious healing and how it can help us clear blockages that are in the way of us being able to create the life that we truly, truly want for ourselves. And so when we look at the life that we truly want for ourselves, we're looking at the life that is in the highest good for you and in the highest good for everybody else around you. If something is in the highest good for you, then it usually is also in the highest good for everybody else around you as well. So we want to look at, finding a comfortable life that includes stability, that includes security, that includes the safety that we all crave. We want to have stability in finances, in our career, in our life purpose, even in our relationships and our health and well-being. But even more importantly, we want to be able to create that space for ourselves, which means that then we want to be able to throw in the fun stuff. We want to be able to throw in the travel. We want to be able to explore adventure. We want to be able to, live this life that we've lived, knowing that we did it well, knowing that we got to have wonderful experiences, and knowing that we got to, experience more love and joy and fulfillment than, some of the other things that we may get caught up in and that we may suffer from. And so the stuff that truly and really enlightens our lives and makes them worth living is usually, awakened by looking beneath the surface, by being able to break down all of the stuff that's in the way of us being able to achieve that for ourselves. And so this is where we're looking at breaking apart our perception, breaking apart our ego mind identity, all of the stories, all of the shoulds, and all of the needs that will deter us off track from being able to do what's right for us in any given moment. Because as we all know, if we can't have the fun, if we can't feel fulfilled in each and every moment, then, what was the point of being here? We can get so caught up in that question if we, are really struggling to find any way to experience the fun or the joy or the fulfillment in our lives. So this is the end goal. This is sort of what we want to achieve by exploring subconscious healing and clearing our limiting beliefs. And I've recently revisited this myself. I'm continually, exploring cycles and reliving certain areas of limitations, especially the ones that are deeper for me. And it is always so important for us to keep connected to the higher vision, because, otherwise, what was all the healing for? Why did we break through all of this difficulty? What was the point that we began this journey and we began this cycle in the first place? And I know that for many of us that are starting to, go back into the regular world, or are who are, feeling like they're in a space of reflection, it's the perfect time to start exploring this and doing what we can to shift anything and everything that is, potentially in the way of us creating our most beautiful and perfect life that we've all been craving for and searching for. Hello, Johnny Retro. Hello, Joan. So wonderful to have you here. Akanaksha, hello. Thank you for being here. I hope I said your name okay. Wonderful. So we want to explore today the truth about time and space. We want to explore some of the myths behind this phenomenon. And we're going to start here because this is specifically what I am constantly revisiting and why Find Time and Space was created. And it's that with each and every new cycle, I'm experiencing new levels of getting how easy it can be to get caught up in all of the things that we feel we should be doing in any given moment. And in this day and age, now that healing has become a part of our regular daily lives, now that we're so interested in wellness, which is wonderful, we've all done such a great job at getting ourselves here to a point where, spirituality and wellness and just doing what's right for us has become a part of our daily life if we've been able to implement it in that way. And that feels so wonderful for us. And so what has been happening, though, is that we have created a right and wrong way of doing this. We have created, the sensation that from time to time we need this. Otherwise, we are not going to be fulfilled. We are not going to be feeling self-loving, and we are not going to be able to have fun and joy in our lives. And so this is where it can be somewhat difficult for us sometimes to be able to separate the things that are truly going to be beneficial for us and the things that, We can maybe let go of the things that we may need to let go of in order for us to be present within ourselves, to be able to just be in peace for some time and be able to access, the reason why we're here, be able to access what's beneath the surface of this existence that we have, what's beneath the surface of the life that we've been living and the experiences that we've been having, and how can we shift and transform this so that the next time we go into this cycle, we don't find ourselves getting caught up in many of the same hiccups. And it's when we have failed to do this, when we have failed to give ourselves this time and space, but not only that, when we haven't had the perfect tools or techniques in order to be able to reflect in a way that is empowering, then that is when we continually go back into cycles, and we are consistently repeating limitations. We're repeating those cycles that, feel like they have a lot of work. There's a lot of work sometimes when we're revisiting cycles. It can feel like we're, repeating things over and over and over again. And it's fascinating because this is so deeply connected to my purpose, because at such a young age, I always found it so strange that people were frantically running back and forth through their lives, doing all of this stuff. And they didn't seem to really enjoy what it was that they were doing, but they were doing it because nonetheless, it seemed important to them. And, they all had the sensation that they needed to do this in order to survive. This is what I was sensing beneath the surface. They needed to do this in order to survive. They needed to do this in order to provide for themselves and for their families. And so what I actually found that as a child, with all of this sort of going on around me, I actually started to become somewhat invisible, because the adults and everybody around me was so consumed by their own difficulties, and they had lacked love and connection so deeply. It had happened on a level where I had felt like, I had become invisible. They were no longer able to see me. They were no longer able to be present with me. And they were consistently missing opportunities to be able to share this with me and share wonderful moments with me. And so this is something that I'm so present to when I spend time with children these days. And, it's such a sad thing that we're bypassing on a daily basis, is that adults are so desperate for love and connection, because we all lacked this so much during our upbringings that sometimes we don't even realize that in our day-to-day interactions, children are also feeling this way. And without realizing it, we're creating more of the same experience for them. And so no matter how much we don't want to, when we're feeling this way, it can be really difficult not to fall into our subconscious behavioral patterns when this happens, craving love and connection from other people. And so it's from here that relationship dynamics start to occur, and we start to find ourselves trapped in these cycles of limitation, going back and forth, experiencing the same difficulties day in and day out, all because we haven't been able to find a moment to be present within ourselves and find that self-love within. And so here's another thing for us all to become really present to, is that the journey of obtaining self-love, there's so much more to it than just feeling self-loving, feeling, fulfilled, and feeling like we're able to be, independent within our relationships and within what we decide that we want for our lives, and finding a way to be able to create that. But it's more about finding the ability, once we've done that, to be able to be present within ourselves, to be able to dive into any deep subconscious healing that needs to occur for us. And so what's interesting is that not only do we all seem to be on this constant journey of the need to find time and space for ourselves, almost as if it's something we need to obtain from outside of ourselves and then find it within, But there becomes this exploration of what to do once we've found that. What is necessary for us to achieve within ourselves once we have found this magical gift of time and space. And so whether we have children or not, it can be very difficult to know exactly what it is that is supportive for us to be achieving in any given moment if we are struggling to be able to be present. And this is because our lives have been so busy in the past with work and school and commuting and shopping and cooking and cleaning and exercising, spending time in nature, attending appointments, all of that sort of stuff has started, adding to our to-do lists. And then on top of that, we now also need to find the time and space in our lives for healing. And the one thing that we want, it is the one thing that we want, truly so much more than anything, is to have that healing and be free. And we can achieve freedom, we can achieve ultimate love, we can achieve new levels of fulfillment. And if we just so happen to become lucky enough that we have found a magical week where we have given ourselves a break, or we've given ourselves time off work, and then we've been able to finally find that gift of time, it can be so easy for us to all of a sudden want to squish all of these things into that time period, right? So we find ourselves doing this. All of a sudden, we feel that we need to have time doing nothing, and we sort of have this need and desire to want to recover somewhat. Then we want to be able to watch some movies. Then we want to be able to do some fun things. We want to be able to explore outdoors. We want to be able to, be out in nature. Then we want to be able to catch up with all of the people that we've been missing because we've been so busy. We haven't been able to organize those play dates, and we haven't been able to see our friends and socialize. And we've been, trying to be really healthy. So we've been, consistently, cooking and cleaning and ensuring that all of our diets and our food is in the perfect place, and is perfectly set up for us to be able to, have that and be able to work throughout the week and be able to fit in everything else that we need to fit in, and then on top of that, there's things that we don't want to be doing. So seeing the accountant, or, seeing those people that, we don't really want to see, but we sort of feel like we should, we feel obligated to see. It's never ending, right? Like when we think about all of the things that we feel we should, and we feel that we need to do, we could go on and on and on. And even a walk in nature could turn into a job if we decided that every single day we need to be able to have that walk in nature. So here's the thing. No matter how desperately we may feel that we may need these things, if we attempt to throw these things into our schedule when the time isn't right, then we have turned this thing into a should. And when this happens, our ego mind will be on the other end of this action saying, I feel like I should work out. I feel like I need this. I feel like I need that. I really should go out into nature today. I'm sure we've all experienced that sensation. And, the truth is that some days it may actually be in the highest good for us to be able to rest our bodies, to be able to stay indoors and be with ourselves and be present in reflection and see what comes up. And subconsciously, we may be avoiding this. We may be avoiding the perfect opportunity to be able to be present, to be able to dive into our deepest limitations and clear everything from this current cycle that we have been struggling with, in order for us to be able to enter into the next phase of our lives with a fresh perspective and being able to achieve so much more the next time around. And this is what I really wanted to be able to open up the opportunity for us to be able to achieve this today, so that we can start to clear some of the fear that we may have of diving into some deep subconscious healing, but also to be able to clear some of those shoulds and needs from our mind space, especially so that we can give ourselves a break, but also so that we can start to see what's beneath the surface of some of the things that we've put into our life. Because if I've learned anything throughout my journey of creating time and space for myself, it's this. The journey is never the same. every day is different. Every day is fluid. And by connecting with our true selves, this is one of the most amazing tools that we can gain by connecting with our intuitive self, is the ability to be able to check in any given moment. What is in the highest good for me to be doing right now? And with each and every cycle throughout our lives, our intent will shift. What's in the highest good for us to achieve will shift. And if we are struggling to be fluid within this, if we are struggling to be able to stay present with the ebb and flow of all of the different cycles of our life, then we can find ourselves being very hard on ourselves. And I had recently started having some pain in my stomach and somewhat of a painful menstrual cycle. And it was so fascinating when I started to look beneath the surface that I realized that I had an accumulation of things that I needed to start looking at, clearing, and that I hadn't been able to give myself that time to be able to be present and clear that. As you can imagine, for myself these days, this doesn't take very long. But the reason that it had caused some pain for me was because I was being harsh. I was so caught up in the to-dos, and I was being so harsh and firm with myself on those things that I felt like I needed to do to make the most out of the situation that I was in, that I was hurting myself, and I had lost this beautiful softness about my energy, this beautiful softness about what it was that I did for myself on a day-to-day basis. So we're going to start exploring that now for all of you and see what are some of the things that you may be having some difficulty with. So I'd love for everybody to share into the comment section if there is any difficulty that you've been having about finding the time and space for yourself. What has it been specifically that you have been struggling to find the time and space for? Has it been to have, beautiful walks in nature? Has it been to be able to find the space for yourself to spend time with your family or with your children or with your partner? Has it been that you're finding it difficult to, heal, to be able to shift things, to be able to find the finances in order to be able to achieve things? What is it that you are struggling to find the time and space for? Pop it into the comment section. And we're going to clear some of these limitations for you all today. Hi, Joe. Hi, Sammy. Thank you so much for joining us. Hi, Kerry. Hi, Sherry. Shelley, sorry. Love and light to you as well. So beautiful to have you all here. Sophie, time to heal. Oh, I love that you've brought that into the space, Sophie. Because, as you know, you've had so much time to heal, but why is your mind there telling you that you don't have the time to heal? Right? Oh my gosh, we want to blitz this perception for you and for anybody else on the call who's experiencing this. Because here's the thing, right? We're chasing healing. Again, we're chasing things, right? Anything that we're chasing, just know that there's need or should beneath the surface. The mind is somewhat present here, which means that there's something that we can clear. But we're chasing healing. In this day and age, we've seen people that have achieved healing, and we're wanting to strive for that within ourselves, for our families, whatever it may be, we're wanting to strive for this. And so what becomes a part of this journey is, it can be really, we can find ourselves feeling really impatient with the journey sometimes. We want to heal everything. We want to heal it all right now. And so, we can end up filling our cup with so many different modalities, connecting with so many different people, and, allowing ourselves in throughout the entire day, all day, every day, if we have that moment, to be living in a world of healing. And we can forget sometimes that, how beneficial it can be to take a break and go for a walk, or go and be in nature, or how beneficial it can be to go and start connecting with other people again, especially once we've sometimes find that we have been able to heal. All of a sudden we feel the need to want to be in this beautiful healing energy all of the time because it feels safe and because it feels supportive. So let's see what's beneath the surface of this for us all. Where have we sort of run off track a little bit, and where can we find some more peace throughout our healing journey so that we can be a little more comfortable with the journey over time? There's this desperation that we all have beneath the surface of wanting to heal. And so we're all going to be able to start having some subconscious shifts now. So allow for this to happen in whatever way is perfect for you. You may feel these shifts happening in your body. You may start having intuitive insights, or you may just have somewhat of a general knowing what is shifting beneath the surface. The desperation beneath the healing journeys, it comes down to this. We all have some pain within us that we're wanting to be free from. And once we begin our spiritual journey, once we begin our journey of healing and transforming these things, we somewhat find this uncomfortable sensation with some of the things that are beneath the surface. We just wish that we could change those now. We wish that we could, shift this entirely from our life so that we would never have to deal with that ever again. And then we can get onto the good stuff. Then we can get, to that perfect part of our life where things feel amazing, where things can be wonderful all the time. And although we still want to strive towards that, we don't want to stop living life in the meantime. And there can be this deep desire for us to want to achieve success within our lives. There's this deep desire for us to want to, to turn healing into a beautiful masterpiece and to be able to allow for it to work for us so well that we can then offer this for other people and we can start living that magical life. The Australian dream. I don't know if anybody has ever explored the Australian dream and all of the different components of it, but we want to be able to clear any limitations that exist within that, because it's one of those things that until we've been able to be outside of it, we don't realize it's there. So this is our opportunity today to be able to leave that beautiful bubble, the Australian dream, or even the global dream that we've all seen has been created over a period of time, and be able to see what's beneath the surface, to be able to capture what is it that we're truly chasing. What is it that our mind is locked in on that has said, yep, I need this. I need to have this magical home by the beach. I need to have this magical lifestyle. What does that consist of for you? And as you're exploring this, you're going to notice that some of this is starting to shift for you. We're breaking down the part of us that is driving us too harshly, is taking us on a very strong journey that's not supporting us. Perfect. Once we've done that, we're then able to clear, limitations that are in the way of us achieving all of the positive versions of healing that we've been wanting to achieve for us. So sometimes it can feel like, clearing these things, we're somewhat needing to let go of them, but it's certainly not the case. We're just clearing the non-truth about them. We're clearing away the difficulties. And we're creating room for the good stuff to come into our lives. We're folding time and space by allowing for it to be here now. So this is the sort of opportunity that we create with subconscious healing. We not only clear away the perceptions that are holding us back, but we're also allowing in the energy of the opportunities that we want to manifest into our lives. Because once we've been able to be present within that energy and that energy is feeling real and true for us, and it's only a matter of time before it physically manifests. So once that's cleared for you, just explore for a moment the truth of healing. The truth of healing may start to come in for you as a beautiful energetic integration. So you're going to sort of allow for that to float in, into your body, into your being, in whatever way is perfect for you. And you're going to allow for that to integrate. That feels so wonderful. Whether you're watching this live or you're watching this later, this feels beautiful. Perfect. So for anyone that's just joined us, we're sharing into the comments section, what are the things that we're struggling to find space for in our lives? What are the things that we're struggling to find the time for? What are the things that we wish we had more of in our lives? Just share them into the comments section, and we're going to start clearing some limitations. We've got another half an hour. We've got plenty of time for these wonderful transformations to come up. Sammy, I'm feeling bitter at the moment and not sure why. Let's explore this for you, Sammy. Yes, this is interesting. So for you, Sammy, I'm seeing that the bitterness actually belongs to somebody else in your early childhood. So if we were to do a session together, a subconscious healing session, we could certainly explore that and identify where this first began for you. What I'm seeing, it's so beautiful that you've brought this up today, because I'm seeing for you that it's connected to the struggle of life. It's connected to all of those difficulties that feel like they keep coming up time and time and time again. And it's throwing you into this subconscious pattern that is just, you know, it feels like you're beyond tired with these things that keep popping up. It feels like you have these beautiful high moments, you know, where everything in your life is feeling wonderful and you're feeling connected and everything feels exactly as it should be. But then, you know, there are these same things that keep sort of popping up for you, and you're just really struggling to find the enlightened space to be able to move through these things. So if this is, you know, present and relevant for anybody else here, let's allow for a shift to happen here, because this is the perfect example of a blockage that's beneath the surface of us being able to allow in the opportunity for healing, to be able to allow in the opportunities for all of the wonderful things that we want to have in our life. And I'm sure that if we've ever, you know, noticed those people who seem to carry the energy of bitterness, they do have this blockage. It's very difficult for them to want more for themselves. So thank you so much for bringing this into the space, Sammy, because now what we can do is we can shift and clear this, and we can allow for new wonderful opportunities to start flowing in. And so it feels like we're just clearing for anyone that's holding that energy in their field. We're just clearing that energy, allowing for any limiting beliefs to shift. So you may or may not notice that clearing. That feels wonderful. And with every clearing, we're going to integrate something new. So just see what's possible for yourself now that you've had this sort of shift. How do you see you being able to live your life? What sort of new opportunities are there floating around out there in space that you'd like to bring into the present moment? And just start catching all of these ideas as we start breaking down some of these things that we wish we had more time for. And then towards the end, we're going to do a nice big integration where we can integrate, allow in all of these wonderful opportunities. So use the time between, you know, now and the end of the session to start exploring opportunity as well. Sophie, time for creativity. Oh, that's such a good one. We all want more time for creativity because we really get to flourish then, don't we? So let's see, what's beneath the surface of this? What is creating blockage? It's almost as though creativity doesn't seem important, does it? It's like society has said at some point that creativity is not important, that it's never prioritized, you know, in the perfect position. And we want to be able to We want to be able to clear that perception so that we can prioritize it correctly into our beautiful life. We're just going to clear that perception and just let go of anybody that has ever, sent any negativity about creativity your way. This is for everybody. Any limiting perceptions that anybody else in your life has had around creativity, just allow for that to sort of clear up. As you think of those people, we're letting it go. It's wonderful, isn't it? How easy subconscious healing can be. So if anyone has just joined us, we're sharing things into the comment section. What are the things that we're struggling to find time for in our lives? What are the things that we're struggling to find space for? Wonderful. Belinda, time to do yoga. Oh, that's such a good one. We all want to be able to do yoga. We all want to be able to stretch our bodies, to love our bodies, to be able to exercise. We want to be able to tone our bodies. We want to be able to meditate. We want to be able to feel at one with ourselves. We want to be able to do these things, not just out of the place of should. We don't want to be coming from a space of should when we do these things. We want to be able to really give this time to ourselves and be able to love ourselves throughout the process. So this is such a common thing. We all have there's such a harsh, perspective that majority of us have around giving ourselves this time for exercise, this time for exploration and freedom to be with our bodies. And it's, primarily because of all of the judgment that we feel we experience on a day-to-day basis about how we look, about how we feel about ourselves. And so it's what we're actually doing is we're actually avoiding this judgment. And there's even the sensation for some of us that if we're not able to do this stuff, then we're not as spiritual as we thought we were. We're not able to, be the person that we truly see ourselves to be. It's like almost as though we then become susceptible to judgment from other people, and they don't see us as the magical, enlightened, peaceful person that we know that we are inside. People see us differently, and they see the versions of us that we don't appreciate within ourselves. So much can go into the simple practice of yoga, right? In any given moment, by going into these practices, we can be taking so much into the experience that we don't get to leave, throughout the experience. A lot of it we do get to leave: breathing exercises, meditation, all kinds of things. Some of it we get to leave these experiences behind us, but there are some really deep ones that seem to live beneath the surface that we will, we could take into our experience of yoga, for 20 years and never be able to shift through if we are unable to find the exact root cause of the limitation that is driving us towards this experience. And not to mention, if we are going into this experience from a place of stress, of wanting to be free from these things, then it almost can take from the benefit that we would have from doing yoga in the first place. So this is why I feel sometimes it's so important for us to check in on what's in the highest good for us, especially when it comes to exercise or going out for a walk in nature. Because if it's in the highest good for us to be present and be able to, reflect and find something within ourselves that we needed to realize, that we needed to work through, that could, even just 5 minutes of that could be so much more beneficial than 1 hour, of exercise. And the stress that it may take to put our bodies through that exercise could be somewhat, detrimental to our health over a period of time. So I want everybody to know that I love yoga and I frequently do yoga, but I'm consistently checking in with myself to see, is it in the highest good for me to do yoga today? Is it in the highest good for me to do some energetic work? Is it in the highest good for me to completely let go and go off and be in nature without any, need or desire to want to exercise whatsoever, but just to be purely in awe of the nature space that I'm in? Or is it in the highest good for me to just be, to find a really comfortable space in my house, to set up some beautiful energy in this beautiful space, and to be able to just be with myself for a certain period of time and see what comes up? And throughout this experience, we achieve magnificent things, absolutely magnificent things. And if anybody is on this call and is really struggling with the thought of that, feeling as though they're not, equipped to be able to achieve identifying something beneath the surface for them, then please connect with me for some subconscious healing sessions, because this is exactly what I have to offer. Subconscious healing is so much more than offering techniques and offering tools, but it's offering you the opportunity to find this space for yourself for healing and transformation. And not only that, but for you to be able to connect with your intuitive self in order to be able to ask these questions. What's in my highest good today? Is this going to be in the highest good for me moving forward? And how can I shift my yoga practice so that it's not only beneficial for me in the form of exercise and my physical being, but that it's beneficial for me in my emotional being, in my mental being, and in my energetic being? And in all levels of my being, even the levels of my being that I'm somewhat not able to capture consciously, because the human mind just, doesn't quite grasp that. We can affect all areas of our life and all levels of our being by being able to have a really super clear and pure intention. And so this is what I offer in my subconscious healing programs, and it's absolute beautiful transformation. You are all perfectly welcome to enjoy with me. Michelle, hello. Sammy, thank you so much. My pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing that, Belinda. That was so beautiful. There were some wonderful insights there for everybody. I'd love to explore any of this further with anybody who's interested in subconscious healing. Kerry, accepting change of friendship. Oh, I love this one. This is so important. Here's where we start to capture the secondary component of find time and space, which is creating space for you, and also how this, interrelates with our relationships. So Kerry, for you specifically, I'm just going to connect in and see what's beneath the surface here for you. And for anybody else that this is relevant for, allow for yourself to have shifts here as well. So for you, there's this deep sadness around the sorts of people that come into your life. And it's almost as though I feel that you shift and change so quickly because you're so open to it that you only get to enjoy really short snippets of people. And you also have a pretty good tolerance of no, enough's enough. So when you feel that friendship or that relationship, getting to a place where it's no longer supporting you, you're very good at being able to say no to that. But, it still feels somewhat harsh for you because you truly, appreciated the initial, space that you and this other person went into with this friendship, or you and this group went into with this friendship. So it feels really, really wonderful, the sorts of, things that are going on for you, because, you've managed to reach such a beautiful space of being able to, to see what's right for you and do what's right for you. But of course, there's this sadness because sometimes you feel, that there's so much, it's so rare to find those magical people that are sort of meeting you on your level. And, the amount of time that you get to spend in that beautiful phase where you get to enjoy time and space with other people, the balance is off. The amount of time that you're spending by yourself is too large, and the amount of time that you get to spend with other people is not quite enough. It's not quite filling your cup. So this is really interesting because what I'm seeing for us all is that, of course, there's this deep need to want to love and connect with other people. But what we're really craving is the ability to be able to be self-loving in our relationships and in our connections with other people. So this is where the sadness comes in because, we all want to be able to do what's right for us in any given moment. And if we can find that perfect way of being able to say no to relationships when they're no longer serving us, then it becomes so easy for us to be able to find this space for ourselves. We start to, find some flow with it, and we start to find a bit of a groove with it when it comes to relationships. But then, of course, society wants to say that this isn't correct, this isn't right, this is, lonely, this is sad, this is something that, is the opposite of fulfilling, and that we should want to have friends in our life all day, every day, that we should want to have people filling our cup all day, every day, and that, a busy life in relationships is a fulfilled one. But what I have found, and I'm coming back now to the cycles that we have throughout our journey, is that there are certain phases within our cycle where it is so super wonderful for us to have space for ourselves. And again, in each and every moment, if we can check in within ourselves and look at who are all of the people that are in the highest good to be in our lives, let's say we did a month at a time. Who are all the people that are in the highest good to be in our life this month? You may notice that some people drop off your calendar, and that's okay, because you'll be able to see them next month. You may notice, that some people will be there a lot for a certain period of time, but then they'll drop away again. So having the ability to connect in intuitively and explore all of this, it really gives you the upper hand, because instead of needing to go into experiences in order to realize, oh, okay, that really wasn't serving, I wish I had a way of being able to avoid that experience, ahead of time, so that I didn't need to, go for that coffee and then walk away feeling drained, or so that I didn't need to organize that play date and then walk away, wishing that I had never done that. And especially with relationships, sometimes we can go into, relationship connections because we feel the pressure beneath the surface. We feel the guilt and the obligation beneath the surface to have an interaction with with a close family member, with a close friend. But, then we walk away going, oh my gosh, that entire conversation, we just bickered at each other, and we were just horrible to each other. Why did I go there? I knew I had this feeling beneath the surface that this wasn't going to be supportive. How can I give myself the ability of being able to not go into those situations? So, for so many of us that are already subconsciously aware of these moments, it becomes really helpful to be able to clear and shift limiting beliefs and limitations. Because what happens once we've done this is we find a perfect place where it doesn't matter what sort of interactions come up in our life. We know that the more limiting beliefs we clear, the more we're able to connect with the perfect people. And we then have no shortage of people in our lives. They all start to just flood into our lives, and we start to have these beautiful connections with other people, because it's in the highest good to do so, and because we know that we have the intuitive power to be able to decide exactly what it is that we want to do in any given moment, free from the obligation that may have been there prior. So these are some limitations for us all to explore, and that we can have somewhat of a shift on now, because it feels like there's limiting beliefs beneath the surface for us around obligation, the guilt that we feel in relationships, especially when it comes to family. So anything that's coming up for you there, we're going to have some shifts. And there's this huge societal pressure around what's right or wrong when it comes to relationships. And with friendship, especially, this is huge. With family, sometimes we can feel more comfortable opening up. But with friendships, this is huge, because if one friend knows another friend, and then they start speaking together, and they start speaking from a place that's not supportive, and then they speak to this person, and so on, our mind could go all day about all of the difficulties, and all of the judgments that we could become susceptible to if we were to do something that felt right for ourselves and other people didn't like this, if they didn't appreciate it. Or if we attempted to do something right for ourselves and it became somewhat of an emotional thing for us. There's a lot of embarrassment about being able to, to step into that empowered space and being able to do what's right for us. So allowing the perfect time and space that you need for healing and transformation opens up the doors and the opportunities for these these moments where we start to shift our boundaries to happen in a graceful way, to start to allow for these transformations to happen more fluid throughout the day, and to allow for these things to have to, it's almost as though for us to sort of know ahead of time, when and where and how and what and why the perfect situation is going to be, but also for us to be able to trust, in that we know that no matter what it is that sort of comes up, for us, that we can do exactly what it is that we need to do for ourselves in any given moment. So again, it's not only about creating the space that we need for ourselves, but it's about what we're going to do with that space when we've found it. How can we best utilize the wonderful opportunities that we're creating for ourselves throughout this healing journey? So thank you so much for Kerry for sharing that. That was absolutely wonderful. Terry, hello. Wonderful. Sophie, exploring life purpose. Oh my gosh. And time for self-love. Perfect. Thank you everyone for joining. I'm going to cover these last two and then we're going to do a beautiful integration to finish up. So, time for self-love. Here's the thing with self-love. You can never get enough self-love. But again, self-love is such a soft, calming, beautiful, effortless space of power. And if we find ourselves attempting to achieve self-love from a harsh space, from a space that is, coming from a place of need or coming from a place of should. And here is where the perfect way is for us to sort of gauge our balance in self-love. If you find yourself in your mind saying, I'm attempting, I want self-love so that I can have this. If I want self-love so that I can achieve this. I want self-love so, that I can be comfortable in conversations with my partner or with my children. I want self-love so that I can attract my divine partner and, know that I am comfortably, with that perfect person who loves me more than anything else. I want to achieve self-love so that I can walk on the beach in my bikini and feel confident and comfortable. I want to achieve self-love so that I can walk into the office every day and just not have to feel those horrible stares of judgment anymore. Every time that our mind has found a reason why we want to be self-loving, there's a limitation to look at. Because the truth of the matter is that self-love is just, it's an effortless truth of our being and our natural state of energy. And if we're on this, this need to want to strive towards succeeding self-love, again, it brings this stress into the process that can sometimes take more than it gives. And it can really throw the balance out of the self-loving things that we're doing for ourselves. So if we're attempting to, achieve self-love through, yoga or through meditation, this is where we can sometimes go into meditation and there's nothing that we can do to get rid of this tension that we have in our mind space, that is saying, I have to relax, I have to relax, I have to relax so that I can achieve self-love, I have to relax so that I can heal myself, I have to relax so that I can have intuitions, otherwise I won't feel good about myself, and I'm going to be stuck in this part of my journey forever. So these are some of the things that feel like they're coming up for this group, specifically watching now and the people watching later. So we want to be able to clear what's beneath the surface, of this. We want to be able to clear the deep, drive to want to achieve, this drive that we have to want to succeed in our life. And this is such a huge, thing that we're really pushing onto ourselves as a society, as individuals, as a family. We push this onto other people. It is everywhere. And here's where we find the beautiful truth. We're bringing in some beautiful self-love energy for you all now, but now we want to connect in with the truth. if we can create the time for us to discover our life purpose, for us to connect with that perfect version of us and find out exactly who we are and why we're here. This is the effortless way of achieving all of these things, achieving having the unlimited time for us to be able to do what we love. And it's through this journey that I've been able to create this beautiful space for myself. And the reason why is because when we're focusing on our life purpose, we're no longer focusing on everything else that our mind wants to bring into the space. We're no longer focusing on our relationships. We're no longer focusing on our finances. We're no longer focusing on our health. We're focusing on connecting with that perfect, purest part of us that we were born here to be. And we're expanding from this intention, from this space. We're expanding these new magical things into our life. So this is what I want to offer for everybody, is the opportunity to be able to capture this, to be able to capture the essence of who we are and why we're here. And then to be able to bring that into your current level of being so that it's something that you can experience on a day-to-day basis. Michelle's saying this makes so much sense. Absolutely. So with healing, I've noticed something huge, and I'm going to break down a final non-truth for us all, a final myth, so that we can all leave today feeling wonderful. And it's that, the purpose of healing is here in order for us to clear, in order for us to, let go of all of the stuff that we want to be free from and allow in the life that we want, that we truly want. And it's true, that is so true, but that's only a part of the journey. And we can get so attached to the drive to succeed in this that we can actually bypass the slightly higher perspective on our journey throughout our lives. Because if we were to connect with our essence and connect with who we really were, and we were able to make that our focus throughout our life, we're not then only able to achieve letting go of all of the things that are no longer serving us through subconscious healing, through, all other modalities, through exploring our relationships, through starting to say no to things and starting to say yes to new things. But we're also opening up the space for that perfect thing that we were born here to do, which is fun, which is fulfilling. And here is where the joy gets to start to come into our life. We're not only healing from that moment on, we're also exploring what we love. And we're exploring this magical gift that we can do anywhere. This magical version of exploring who we were truly here to be, that version of us that we were born into this life with. We weren't born with anything other than us. And so this is all, that we see possible for us. This is the perfect intention that we want to set this magical life up for ourselves. This is the perfect intention we want to have when we're creating that life, when we're creating our masterpiece of ourselves, so that, not only do we have a stable and, financially supportive future, but we have a fun one. We have one that fulfills us, and with one that's doing what we love. And so the essence of Find Time and Space is about achieving this. It's about creating space in your life for opportunity. It's about creating space in your life, not only to achieve, bringing more wonderful things into our life, being able to benefit from exercise and healthy eating and, exploring psychology and our self-development and all of those magical, wonderful things that we're here to experience and to learn and grow from. But in any given moment that this starts to become work, that this starts to feel like it's draining us, and that this starts to feel anything less than amazing, any moment that it starts to feel like it's lacking from that source of fulfillment, then there are limitations beneath the surface for us to clear, and there's always a perfect opportunity for us to shift our focus. And if we can connect in with our true intuitive self, that perfect, intuitive wisdomous version of us that has all of the answers to these questions about our life and can guide us throughout this journey, then we are then able to create that magical life without the assistance of anybody else. We will eventually get to the point, as I have today, where we can achieve that without the need for healers in our life and without the need to have yoga in our lives. We just get to enjoy those beautiful things when they float into our life, and they become something so fulfilling and magical that we can barely describe into words the levels of, new love and transformation that come from these experiences. So if all of this is feeling super beautiful for you and you would love to explore this further, I would love to explore subconscious healing with you. And I have a magical subconscious group healing that is happening tomorrow. You can follow this link to join the Facebook group on, the Facebook event, register for the event. Here is where we're going to have a look at clearing some limitations, clearing some limiting beliefs. And what's so perfect is that the biggest blockage I usually find that people have around exploring their life purpose is exploring love. There's so many huge new levels of love that are ready to flow into us from the universe, from other people, and as we start exploring our life purpose, this starts to come through. It can be really difficult for us sometimes to stay connected, to be able to capture the essence of all that the universe has to bring us. And so tomorrow we're going to be exploring all of the fears that are beneath the surface of us attempting to experience love, not just in relationships, not just in, feeling at one with life and being able to love all of the different experiences that we're here to have, but feeling at one with our intuitive true self, being able to allow in all of those new levels of love from our supportive source that's here to offer and create the opportunities for us to experience whole new levels of love and fulfillment in our lives. So if this is something that you're interested in, definitely check out the subconscious group healing tomorrow. I've also just popped into the comment section my subconscious healing expo booth from the expo last weekend. So definitely check out the Subconscious Healing Expo if you're interested in exploring a little more about what it is that I do. There's some magical demonstrations in there, and there's also some wonderful offers that will stay open until midnight tomorrow. And that includes 6 weeks of subconscious group healings for just $125. So if this is something that you're interested in, this would be the perfect time to sort of dive into that opportunity, to be able to start dipping your toe into the world of subconscious healing and start exploring clearing limitations. And throughout that experience, we can start to create more time and space in your life for love and fulfillment, and for all of those beautiful, wonderful things that you've been, craving to manifest into your being. I feel so beautifully connected to so many wonderful people on this call. So thank you so much for being here. It was so wonderful to have you here, Michelle. Thank you, Sophie, for all of your beautiful input. I absolutely love having you on these calls. It's so beautiful. And thank you to everybody else who has joined us today. I hope you all have an absolute magical weekend. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.